Hello, this is TechMan88, and this is my response to xisumavoid's challenge to make a really simple, automatically resetting Furnace EXP farm. So, it doesn't use any silly buttons or anything. It has the simplest interface that you can possibly have, and it repairs 800 durability on an item. If you're in survival mode, it'll give you about 17 levels. The way this works is actually really simple. It uses the fact that items cook much slower than they can drain out with hoppers to do the logic. So basically, when you press Q on an item here, it's going to depower this comparator here, and this note block here is going to update this piston below it, and this is basically a falling edge detector. So when this comparator turns off, it's going to retract this piston with the observer on it, and that's going to trigger this, which will push over these glass blocks and this redstone block, which was blocking this hopper before. So at this point in the process, it's still draining items out of this furnace above. And when it finishes draining out all those items, this hopper down here is going to output a 0 signal to this comparator. And that's just going to be read by this observer pointing down. And that's just going to trigger it to push this redstone block. So then that'll lock the hopper and allow all this to fill up with the predefined amount of items. And by the way, this is just a concept. You can actually use this to cook up many more stacks of items. I've got a version over here to cook up, I think, 2 hoppers worth, but you could expand this to like cook up a full chest. So there's no limit to this. With different container sizes, you can basically get any number of stacks you want. But I felt that the 800 EXP is really nice because you're not wasting a whole lot if you just need to repair a little bit of an item. And over here are some very similar designs. This one, I think it feels a little bit better because you have these half slabs here, but you don't get these indicator lights over here, which tell you when it's on. You would have to just look at the comparator, which I don't find is quite as easy to do. And then this over here, I thought this was a good design before, but actually after using it in my survival world for 5 months or so, I realized that if you take out a ton of EXP and you have a whole lot of these in a row, you can kind of clog up these hoppers and you won't be getting the full delivery. So yeah, these versions over here, they have an intermediate storage in a chest. Like you see, these 2 hoppers are pointing in here. And if you tile this, then you just have it kind of like this. You can also use water streams in this kind of design, just like this, using the trapdoors to hold water off. So I know this isn't really supposed to be a competition. It's called a challenge, but I think if it is called a competition, this should easily win. I saw Ilmango's design, which I guess everybody compares to him because he's known as a very good redstoner. But what I saw from him is just not nearly as good. It's super complicated. You can configure the amount of items. But I've found after playing 1.13, since it basically came out, that that's not an issue. It's just fine to run along and get as much EXP as you want, just like that. Another reason I think this should win is because I did this 5 months ago. And yeah, I made an improved version of this one today, possibly, or another option. But yeah, I did it so long ago, and that I don't mean to badmouth anybody like xisumavoid or whatever, ilmango. But yeah, because those are the people that actually inspired me to like get into zerotick cactus farm stuff, which I'll actually show next. But it does kind of beg the question to me, why if I made this 5 months ago, I think my video got about 500 views. Like, why didn't that filter up to like xisumavoid or something like that? Because I think this truly is the best design you can come up with. It doesn't have the button reset. It's just super, super easy. So I also took this as an opportunity to show some more cactus farms that I've been working on. This is just a super, super simple cactus farm. And I've got a couple more versions over here. I like this one a whole lot. I think it just looks super, super cool. And all of these that I was working on, they have a easily like rate control system or whatever, like automatically make more cactus when you need it. And like this one here, it uses the butted piston, and there's 4 redstone blocks on the sides, and then the note blocks update the pistons here. The really good thing about this is it minimizes the tilinity lag, which if you've seen my videos where I went through like probably 10 different cactus farm designs and tested the lag, like the server lag. The tile entities on 1.13 are pretty bad. So this just seeks to eliminate that completely. So just to explain the zerotick method I'm using, I've got this little setup right here. So this is when this block comes over here, it instantly gets pushed forward, and that's going to cause a zerotick. So then what I can do is just place pistons over here and then over here, and these will be now zerotick when it's activated. And it's really nice that when you have when you power it basically to turn the system off. So that makes it so you'll never break the cactus. So once you're done with that part, you place some green glazed terracotta, which is just the block you have to use to make this work. And those are where the sand is going to go. So sand goes here, and then cacti go here. And right there is a nice simple zerotick cactus farm that's also quite reliable. And there we go. So I built up the other side, and now what you do is you place some green stained glass panes right there and over there, because those will allow the items to fall down. And you also stack up another layer right here to prevent items falling and landing on this block right here. So now what you would do is build something like this, the shut-off mechanism, and you could just power this piston down here to shut it off. You don't want to do it too fast, or you might, or the one up there might lose the block. There we go. So now with this 4-tick repeater down here, I'm not able to break it anymore. So I didn't do it quite like this when I built this farm over here. Just a really simple one right here. Just because of looks pretty much. So I didn't want the terracotta to go up the side of this nice beautiful glass chamber. So therefore I moved it all over. But I think it's all about looks when you design a system like this. That's probably going to be sitting out in the open. Like you might not care about looks, might think they might not matter. But it's nice when you build something, you can come back and look at it and say, oh, that looks so cool. This is about all I've got time for today, but I'm just going to go through this map a little bit. I've gone through this before in my previous video, which I will link. Like, this is the eureka moment, basically, where I realized that detecting the number of items in here is the way to do this, and it probably won't even work right now. So then I just sought out to minimize the space of it. Like this first one I did was 5 wide. This is 3 wide. Then I guess this is where I figured out the 1.5 wide tilable. But that over there, I didn't think it was that good. So yeah, I went through a bunch of iterations, and this over here was the designs that I thought were the best, which I would recommend building. This one over here on the left, I would recommend it. I have a sign right there, it says recommended design. This one might look better when you're inside it, but you don't have the indicator lights. Yeah, these are just some clones of those. And over here is just a different build. And some cactus farms over here. And I've even included ilmango's design, which really got me inspired to work on this stuff in the first place. So anyway, I hope this didn't become too ranty, but there were some things that just bothered me a little bit, particularly that nobody found this design and wanted to use it. I saw Xisuma's video really long time ago, and this is the reason that I started working on these farms, because I saw his shop on Hermitcraft, and yeah, I thought there was a much better way to do it. But anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.